Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Game Pass Grab Bag, your weekly podcast reviewing games in the Game Pass collection. Bring you 3 unique perspective varying skill range. What are you going to do when something strange is happening in your neighborhood? Call your Ghost Blasters. I am your Peter Ventman. With me are Slimy, Keith.
Hello. Isn't it Slimer?
I know, but I call this Ghost Blasters. We're supposed to be like a B unit.
Oh, okay.
Keith.
Carry on. Carry on.
Keith didn't get the joke.
Nope.
And with us, our Lois Scully, Liz.
Hey, guys.
And this week, we played Ghostwire Tokyo by Tango Gameworks. We just recently did a Tango Gameworks game. Can you guys please tell me, what game did we just recently play from them? Keith, come on.
Hi-Fi Rush. I was giving Liz a chance.
You told me that early in the week. I don't listen.
So, Ghostwire Tokyo is a first-person action-adventure game where you are playing a person who just recently kind of almost died and is possessed by another spirit who they decide to team up, and they're trying to take down a man in a mask who has turned everyone within a portion of Tokyo into spirits. And so you are trying to stop his evil plans of taking over the world. But going around, Liz, was this a game or pass for you?
This was a game. I took last week off, and I feel like this is a great game to jump into. And, I mean, it gets me excited because, I mean, we have a whole month of games that I'm excited about. But I graphically and story-wise, it was great. And there's looting. The only thing that, I'm not going to give it away. There's one thing that kind of, I was kind of meh about. But no spoilers, So, yeah, it was definitely a game for me.
So it was story related?
No, it was gameplay related. And see, no, you're making me spoil.
Well, are you at least going to say in the episode?
What?
Are you going to say in the episode what it is?
Yeah, I know. You're trying
okay.
to trick me right now. I know.
I just thought you meant when you were saying no spoilers, I thought you meant you were going to spoil the story for people.
There's one thing that kind of I was kind of about.
Oh, gotcha.
She doesn't want to give away episode spoilers. I like
Exactly.
this new vacation, Liz. Coming back with a refreshed sense of urgency, not spoiling things. I love it.
Yeah, Liz, you should take more time off.
But don't, because
it's a good time.
Because I listened to the Boy Talk episode, and I don't think anybody wants more of those. But anyways, I think Ghostwire Tokyo, it's a game. I'm just gonna go ahead, I guess, and say it. Yeah, there is parts where, I guess late when I was looking at it, I went, okay, yeah, kind of cool. I don't know. There's nothing about it that stuck out, I guess, that I thought I was going to enjoy. I thought it was going to be pretty bland, but the more I actually got into it, the more I found myself enjoying it. And, I really enjoyed it, and I would definitely recommend it. And I have actually quite a few reasons for that. So let's game.
Yeah, this is a game for me as well. I saw some people so this has been out for a year now on PlayStation because they had an exclusive deal before Microsoft bought Bethesda. But now that, Microsoft bought Bethesda, this is now over. Actually, it wasn't even a one-year deal. This was supposed to be a PlayStation exclusive. But then Microsoft was like, nah, now we're bringing it to Xbox now that we own the studio. But, Ghostwire Tokyo the combat's very unique. When you first look at it, it's it's a first-person shooter, but you use, finger guns. But no, it's more than that. The combat was kind of slow. It's weird. When I first was playing it, it was reminding me almost kind of like a turn-based RPG. Of how kind of slow it was moving, how enemies would move in to attack, but then they would kind of back off to rewind up their attacks. I don't know. It was really, it's much slower, and I enjoyed that. My only issue is I think the game has a weird pacing issue. I feel like this game was really long, and it didn't need to be. Because also, too, the whole story is end of the world. And you're well, we're going to go collect car parts. And it's okay. Is it not that urgent? I don't get what's going on.
I think they try to make up for that with timed events, which, I kind of wish, it was more evenly paced instead of having them. So I agree with that.
Yeah. But yeah, the story it's good, but it was weird. Like I said, the whole purpose is, like I said, your character is on the way to the hospital because your sister's dying. And you end up getting in a car crash, and a spirit ends up possessing your body. And luckily in time, too, because a mysterious fog rolls in, and anyone who goes in the fog ends up disappearing and turning into a spirit. and spirits from the other world start to invade Tokyo and starts to capture these people's spirits. So you are trying to stop this guy because the guy ends up kidnapping your sister for a nefarious plan. So you're trying to stop his nefarious plans. But it was just weird of like, oh, we gotta go, we gotta save your sister. But then you're like, I'm gonna collect spirits, I'm gonna do side quests, let me do this. It was just, I don't know. I thought the story pacing was weird, but I liked the story.
Any open world RPG though? Like, because we joke about it literally all the time about how everything is always urgent, you know, like in Chorves when your friend was being attacked, like they're imminently in danger of being attacked and you're just like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go do a bunch of side missions and I'll get there when I get there because I know that when I show up, that's when the actual fight is going to take place. That's just any given open world RPG. I do agree with you as far as the pacing overall in that I like the pacing of the battle, but the game, yeah, just seems to drag, and I don't know. I like the main missions seem spread out and slow and dry, but yeah.
The only difference, though, between something like Chorves and this, between the story moments, like a cataclysmic thing happens. Like you see a big light or like things are shaking. You're like, oh no, the end of the world. But then it's like, I'm going to go around and loot stuff. Like it felt different because this one was very much like you can see the thing going on. But you're just like, nah, I'm not going to go there yet.
I still think that happens quite often. Maybe not Chorves, but quite often. And so I guess I kind of looked past it, but I get where you're coming from. And, yeah.
Wait, did you say if it was a game or not?
I did. I said it was a game.
Okay. But I did not hear that. Okay, sorry. So I really like the story. It was weird. So like the person or the spirit that's in you, KK.
Yeah.
I was really interested in him. And I know there was like side missions that, you know, you could learn more about him and stuff, or like his paperwork or whatever. But I felt like I kind of wanted more. I mean, like at the beginning, you know, with the whole sister thing and stuff, they didn't really get you to like really invest in the characters. Like it's like, oh, they took your sister, but it's like, okay, but can I have some like backstory? Can I have something? And I felt like they more focus on like the current here and now, and for me, like I'm more of a backstory person. So like but I do think like they did create an atmosphere with like, so like there are these scenes where they were the like I call them like the ghost parades.
They're called visitors. No, they're actually also, they're called ghost parades or something like that.
Oh, they are. Yeah. So
or visitor. Yeah, or visitor.
So it's something parade though. I think.
Yes.
I think you're right, Liz.
And I also thought too, like at the very beginning when you're like thrown into it, like the spookiest scene is at the beginning when you're going through the hospital for the first time, when you first see this ghost parade and stuff. And it is really, maybe it's because like Andrew works overnights. I was home by myself and maybe that's why, but I was just like, this is spooky. I don't really feel like that now, but I felt like at the beginning they definitely created that atmosphere. So story-wise, I do wish there was a bit more. Like I know that something happened with his parents and all that. Like I just haven't gotten to it maybe, or I don't know if they're gonna tell me, but yeah.
See, I 100% agree with you with the atmosphere. Like this game is rated teen, but I would not want my 3-year-old to be watching me play this game because it is creepy. It's weird because usually when there is a horror game, you kind of know what you're getting into. It's, you know, it's probably going to be a survival. It's going to be super gory. Something is going to be chasing you. But this is like a weird change of pace of like, I felt not scared, but very uneasy. It was very creepy. Like they did such a good job with the atmosphere. And
but
the
why are
design of
so
the
many
enemies.
headless? And that's what I don't get. Like that's like the creepy part where like, especially like, what are they, schoolgirls or whatever? Because you told me you can look up and see like why they are the way they are, like the ghosts,
the history
and
of
stuff.
the demons, the visitors.
But yeah, I think too, like, so our 3-year-old right now all of a sudden is afraid of ghosts for some reason. I think it was from like something that she saw in like a show or something. I mean, even kid TV shows have everything now. Yeah. And I would definitely not play it in front of kids. It's creepy the way that it reminds me of like, so I didn't see the movie, that new movie, was it Megan or something with that. Yeah. The way that they throw themselves, like leg first, like that's like my first thought when I see them. I don't like it.
I just thought they were. Is karate? I don't know. I thought they were like ninjas.
Oh, what is it called?
But Well, it's funny actually because I was playing this, and my 5-year-old was walked up and she was watching me play. She's typically scared of a lot of things, and she just kind of sat there and she's like, "Oh, what's that?" And none of it actually bothered her. So like,
Thanks.
yeah, it was like I explained to her, I was like, yeah, they're like ghosts. I don't know. They came back. She's like, oh, okay. Do you have to fight those guys? Like, are those the bad ones? Like, she just didn't care at all.
I mean, did you get to the real creepy ones? Because like when you get to the lamentation, I think it was the floating one with teeth.
Yeah, the one that looked like a jack-o'-lantern. Like, yeah, that one. It wasn't any of those. And there's some that I've seen pictures of, and I know they get really creepy looking. But I think what's interesting about it is I'm not saying this is a fact, but I think they're actually based on like Japanese lore of like demons and stuff, right? So like that's what I thought was really cool is these aren't just made up whatever demons, and I think these are actually stories they tell to kids. But so like maybe it is for kids in some ways. But you know what? I don't know where this is the right place. Maybe graphics is more the place for it. There was one scene, and I was trying to get back to it, where all I was doing was just running down the street. I wasn't in the middle of anything. I was just traveling throughout the city, and I happened to run by a stoplight, and the shadows were just of a bunch of like little kids running across the street on the side of the truck. That I thought was the creepiest moment in the game because it didn't notice it at first, and I was like, wait a minute, and I turned and it happened again. I was like, oh, that's really creepy because it's like,
Andrew, you have that thing with like creepy kids in movies.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about
subtle.
it?
And that's what I liked about it is, and I think it's what you were saying. And so I guess I kind of agree. Is it's a change of pace scary. It's not jump out and it's not gore. It's very subtle little things like that. It's just like, ooh, that's just creepy.
Yeah, and I feel like it's been so long since we've had a kind of creepy horror game kind of like this. I don't know if I'd fully classify it as a horror game, but it definitely makes you feel uneasy. But yeah, no, the headless schoolgirls I thought was one of the creepiest, and that's what I liked was the enemy designs got progressively creepier and just really grotesque looking, and I loved it. It was just a lot of fun of the designs of them and just the atmosphere of it.
See, I kind of think it's weird though that like they had like the Umbrella Man, and then you just had like a bigger Umbrella Man, like he was overweight, and then like they had like somebody in like a raincoat. So I feel like it didn't really progress in creepiness. It was like I just felt like it was just like, oh, it's a bigger Umbrella Man.
I think some of them did a little bit in that they got more, I guess more intricate in some ways, where it was like it was a schoolgirl, then it was like I don't know, she had like the sports jacket on, and like they changed up. It was a lot of reskinning, and I don't know if I got through enough different variations, like if their moves change up at all, or if they just become a little bit more bullet spongy.
But that's what I mean. Reskinning, it makes it less scary, in my opinion. Like for me, like the schoolgirls, like were like the creepiest, and then like when you start reskinning,
what about the ladies with the scissors?
No, but
those ones creeped me out.
But for me, like the original Umbrella Man, like that was creepier than the one after. Like so for me, like I thought the original were the creepiest, and then from there it just kind of went downhill. I was like, oh, it's just like a different version of it. So I don't know. I disagree with that.
Well, I see where you're coming from of like the reskinning. I would say, yeah, it would wouldn't be as creepy, but like there was so many different enemy types that really were new characters and new models. Like I said, like the woman with the scissors, the lamentation, which is like a lady with long hair who was floating in the air and had like a Pac-Man mouth full of teeth. Like you just had these new creepy ones. Another flying one, the Sanguine Dancer, was like a spinning umbrella that threw sickles at you, but it was just like a bunch of arms under like an umbrella. It was really creepy looking.
I also just remembered, so the schoolgirls, I don't know how to pronounce it, and I know I'm going to pronounce it wrong, so forgive me, but I remember watching, I think it came out in the 90s. There was a movie about like Copiera. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a type of martial arts, but I remember seeing
Capoeira?
Sure, why not? And
from Bob's Burgers, the guy.
Oh yeah, no, that is the same thing. Yeah. No, but it was a movie in the 90s. And I remember like thinking it was like the craziest thing where they would fling themselves leg first.
Yeah.
And so for me, that like I thought that was so cool.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon?
Never seen it.
I don't know.
But I'm curious, Keith. So I talked to Andrew a little bit about this, but when you make the selection at the beginning, I did Japanese audio and English subtitles. What did you do?
I did the same, and I'm torn. I kind of wish I did the English text because there were moments where there was actually action happening while I was trying to pay attention to the dialogue too.
Yeah.
English text? You didn't do English text?
Or well, yeah, English subtitles. I mean, like English.
No, but
dialogue.
you're in the middle of combat, though. He said,
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry.
You said English text. I'm like, wait, are you reading Japanese here?
Yeah, you didn't know that about me. I'm actually more than bilingual. We won't get into all the languages I speak, but no. And like there was moments I wish I had the English dialogue on, so that I could have heard the dialogue rather than trying to like quickly read and get back into my combat. But at the same time, I don't think that there was any dialogue that I looked down at and went, boy, I'm glad I didn't miss that. Like, and not to say that it was meaningless, but it wasn't so meaningful that I needed all of it, I guess.
No, I agree with that.
I tried to switch it a couple times and it wouldn't let me. I don't know if it's because of where it was in the story. It wasn't during combat. Just I kind of wanted to be able to go back and forth. But I am glad that I did like the Japanese audio because
Subs, not dubs.
Yeah, I love that.
I
love the voice
that.
acting.
I don't.
I didn't know what you meant. I don't know why I laughed.
That's what people always watch anime always say. You always want to do subtitles. You never do the dub English version. But Liz, I want to go back to a point you said, which I kind of agree with, was the how the game kind of threw you in with these characters and didn't give you much of a backstory. I'm on chapter 5 of 6, and I still don't know that much. I think your sister was in a fire, but if she was in a fire, she's the best looking burned victim I've ever seen.
You work in a hospital too, yeah. It just doesn't
like,
make.
She had bandages on her arm, and like that's it.
I could have been all inhalation though.
I guess, but still, but even then, I still don't know much about your backstory. Like, I do like that your character. I already forget I forget your
Akito.
Akiro.
Akito, that's it. I remember something with an A.
Akito and KK.
KK, yes, the spirit.
Which do they ever tell you what KK stands for? Or is he just KK?
Not yet. Not that I've seen. But yeah, I enjoyed their banter. And so like I'm with you, Keith, of like I never cared if I missed dialogue. So yeah, they talk sometimes during fights, but it was never like, oh, that's I missed it. It was always very quick sentences too. So usually I could read it while even in combat. Because like I said, combat is a bit slower and a little more methodical because, you have your finger guns with different elements. You have your bow and arrow and your talismans, like are your main sources of weapons. But the enemies generally moved relatively slow. Like I said, to me, at least at the beginning, it felt more like a turn-based RPG of like how slow it was. Once you got more abilities and you can dodge and you can, kind of do like these perfect blocks and counters, it obviously picked up more. But I felt like at the beginning of the game, it was just very slow and steady, and I liked it.
But I think that it fits because, like, you have these enemies who are slower earlier on, right? And they start to pace up. So when you pace up, they pace up with you. So it kind of makes sense, and I suppose all in all. But I do agree that I don't know. I guess if we're jumping into gameplay a little bit, we've been crossing the line. That's what I
was trying to do, was transition.
Okay. Did you really use much more than your finger guns? Like
I did. I love the bow and arrow.
Really, I didn't use it at all. And I didn't really put any points into it either. So most of my skill tree, I basically hung out around like the left side where it was like more my personal skills. Like you were talking about the block, the dodge. I was doing a lot of those things. And otherwise I pretty much was just putting it actually, I think, into like the fire points. Because the fire was just the strongest one. It was good up close. It was good from a distance. Just it had the splash. It had everything I needed. So
yeah, it just had low ammo count.
Yeah, it's hard to get the ammo. So I didn't even bother with dodge. I kind of wanted a weapon, which I know like the bow and arrow you do have, but I mean like there's so many enemies that like for me it didn't make sense. Like where I am in the game, like I only was carrying like 10 or something. So for me, like I didn't bother that much. I found a knife that you can't use. And like there's obviously like prayer beads that like up certain things. But for me, like I felt like it would be nice to have some weapons. Especially there's so many stores and there's not there you can buy like so much food. Like give me some weapons because I do like the wind attack and water weaving and the fire and everything. But I wish I had like a better melee and then also a ranged. I felt like, and because I also felt like I just like wanted more. I mean, you have like the 3 main attacks.
Yeah.
Like I definitely wanted more. And same with like the prayer beads. It's like, it's nice to get, but those are few and far between.
Yeah.
So I just felt like there's so much looting. I just wanted more combat stuff.
I kind of get why they didn't give you a melee weapon because of the fact that you have finger guns. And so it's like, you put away your finger guns to use the bow and arrow, and that's about it. And I don't know, again, maybe once you upgraded more, it gets better. But I didn't use melee either. It was really more of a last ditch, like push them away so that I could bolt out of there if I needed to. But I'm assuming you played on at least normal, Andrew. Maybe you beefed it up.
I did normal.
I was going to say I did too. And I think you were saying it, Liz, regardless of what difficulty you played on, is I always had so much food. So it was nice, but I didn't feel like I ever had an issue. And that's where I thought gameplay almost at times, it was never easy, but I kind of like my meaningful thing. It wasn't necessarily easy, but it wasn't all that hard either.
I actually died a decent amount.
Oh, I did too. But I was never dying frustratingly. It was mostly because I was just not paying attention to my health, or like I would forget that you have a little bit of a delay between eating something and then starting to shoot again. So I just mistime things a lot more than anything. But I didn't think there was any moments where I was like, oh, this is really difficult. I think there was maybe one fight, and I can't remember which one, that I actually died multiple times on.
See, I wish I did normal. I did easy. I didn't die a single time. And then like I also like I never used talismans.
The talismans are really good.
I mean, reading them, they sound great, but I just never really needed to. Not to go back to the story too much. Just one little thing. I thought it was interesting. So when you have the paper dolls or the katashiros, whatever, I almost don't want to say things because I don't want to like mispronounce. But you go to these phone booths, right? I feel like I always picture Japan like way ahead of us with technology. Like if you look at like videos of stuff that they have that we don't have, would they have phone booths?
That's a good question. I'm glad you brought that up because I was wondering that too. I'm like,
technology wise, they're way like even like the stuff that they keep in their home, they're way more advanced than us.
No, Akito makes a comment about that. It's like at the very beginning when KK tells him to look for it, he goes, "We still have those."
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, I wonder if there really are. I mean, I do remember that, but it's like I wonder if they really do have, because like most cities in the U.S. don't have them. But I remember like, because like we used them all the time, like growing up. Because like my mom didn't have a car, so she would call like taxis at like stores and stuff. And so for me, it's like I kind of miss them. I love the idea of having them around in case like you're in that situation. But I just like, and it also just makes me want to visit Japan. Like when like this game, just I was just like, because I've always wanted to go too, but I'm like, I just can't picture Japan having phone booths.
But there was another complaint. Now that you brought that up, there was one weird thing about the story that kind of irritated me. I can't figure out where you are. Are you in a different world? Because like you're getting spirits, like Liz said, and they say, "Oh, you can return these spirits, and we'll be able to return them back to a human form."
And there's like clothes lying around. Yeah. But Tokyo is so populated. There's no way. Like the amount of clothes. Yeah. Is that what you're getting at? Like that doesn't make sense.
Well, I have a different thing about the clothes.
Oh, sorry.
But what I'm going at too, like you're doing side quests for spirits that are dead, like that you aren't capturing and returning to their bodies, and so like that's what I'm confused about. I'm like, who's dead? Who's a floating spirit that can be returned to life? And even when it comes to like characters that you're interacting with, I'm like, I that's what I found the most confusing. I didn't quite know where you were, who's dead, how are they talking to me? Like, I don't know.
And
like stuff
some
like
are
that got
like
confusing.
tangled or speared or whatever, and you have to like it begins with an A. They're like you have to do that symbol to.
Oh yeah, when they have an affliction.
Yes, that's the word. Yeah, and so like like how does that happen?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't say. I just assumed that like the main character is in the real world, and like everyone's like spirits have been disconnected. But like I said, it doesn't make sense because like even in a hospital, like there'd be way more clothes. Like where are the clothes of like the nurses and stuff?
Well, I'm actually impressed. I actually thought there was quite a bit of clothes. But did you also notice apparently no one wears underwear?
I didn't investigate the clothing that directly, no. I wasn't checking out the styles of the people that were left behind.
I don't know what's hip right now. Like, is going commando like the new thing? I don't know.
And, like no one. And then every once in a while you find baby clothes, and apparently babies don't use
Oh,
diapers.
I do it. I know. I mentioned this in another game. Like, why are there strollers
Atomic Heart.
around? Like, I don't like that. I don't need to see that. Like, you know what I mean? I don't see crutches around or anything. Like, why do I need to see like a? Like,
That was one of the afflictions. One of the afflictions, the spirits had a crutch in them.
I do. I wasn't sure if that was a crutch, if I was just seeing things with my eyes. But yeah, like that's another thing. Yeah.
I didn't care for the whole affliction thing because it just got old.
Oh yeah, I did too.
time
It
suck
just
kind of.
it just became tedious because it's like I don't really get much of a bonus, and I just had to do a thing that took time for no real reason, not even a difficult thing, just a thing, and it became tedious. Yeah, so
Speaking of tedious, let's talk a little bit about the collectibles in this game.
yeah.
So as we said, you're collecting these spirits. They're like they're like a group of people kind of in a ball. And usually when you suck up a spirit, you get usually about 100 spirits. The game has 250,000 spirits. There's 250,000 spirits you gotta collect. And like I said, majority of them are 100. Every once in a while you get one that's like 500, 600, 700. But those are few and far between. Majority of them are 100 spirits. This game has an absurd amount of spirits you gotta collect. And that's just one thing. Then you got audio logs. Then you got, like paper, like diary logs. Then you got Jinzo statues. Then you got the cat relics. Like
I have a
ton
question
of
though.
stuff.
So the blocks, you know how like they get the spirits in blocks and you have to
and
save
you gotta
them?
yeah.
Yeah, so obviously like sometimes you're gonna miss some.
Which I did once. I didn't realize that event
Me
activated.
too. No, I saw them doing it and I was like, oh, like is that like a timed thing?
Yeah.
It was. So it's like for me, it's like I mean, is there an achievement to get like not to get ahead, but like to get all the spirits? Like, can you even get all the spirits?
there's an achievement to get every spirit and then beat the game.
And that brings me to like my main point of like what I disliked about the game. I feel like where I'm at in the game, the combat, it kind of got samey, and it's such a big aspect of the game that I was just like. I mean, there are times where I was just like, do you know, I don't want to fight you. I know I'm gonna win. I know like there's like a couple guys, and I'd rather just go around you or like sneak up and get one of you and go where I'm going. But I mean, we talked about earlier about how like there's a lot of reskins and stuff. The combat, it doesn't really vary that much, and so you have all these achievements for like get all of this or get like the vast majority of that, and it's just like. That's a lot. Like I started doing the side quests, and then I kind of got bored with the combat, and I was like, I need to do main mission. I'm already kind of done with it, and I'm on chapter 3, I think, because like I said, I did a lot of the side missions. So that's why I kind of don't understand why they would do that when it is samey.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. This is one of the first in a while when I did an open world game. When I saw just how many collectibles are in this game, I was with you, Liz, where I'm just like, I want to beat this game and I want to finish the story. So I was just skipping everything. I've only did like 6 side quests. And yeah, they're all pretty samey.
But sometimes I'd accidentally start one because it just looks like a spirit.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, well, now I feel bad.
But yeah, so I've just been beelining to the objective. I'm not trying to do extra stuff because I'm just like, I want to see the story. Because I'm the same way. The combat's getting samey. The side missions are the same. And then another one of my complaints, I don't care for the skills in this game. None of the skills, for the most part, they just speed things up. Like you can, usually when you're in combat, you are essentially exposing a core on the enemy's chest. And if you expose it enough, you can kind of do like an insta kill. You like send out a rope and you try to grab the core and you destroy the core and it kills the enemy. And so like your skills are essentially ways to speed that up. Like, oh yeah, you can make the core like stay more exposed longer, or you can crush the core faster. And there was no skills that I was like, this is a must. You have to get the skill. Like it changes everything in the game. No, they were all just kind of speeding up and making things more efficient, which I didn't care to do.
I also just thought of something that kind of, backtracking a little bit. We were talking about like where is your character? Like, is it in like the real world kind of thing? So like, so you have like the Temu, right? And the grappling, whatever. Say that you get a grappling hook. There's still no height damage. And at one point, like KK leaves your body, you can still run around. You're intact.
Yeah.
So that means it's not real. Like, you're not in the real world because you're falling from buildings and you're okay. Like, that car accident, you're not limping or anything. And, like...
Well, KK heals your body when you got in the car accident. That you kind of saw.
No, but, like, afterwards, like, everything that you go through, like, there's no real damage. Like, for me, like, there'd be height damage or something if, like, it really was... You know what I mean?
You still have some of the powers... when you don't have KK, because you can absorb.
Actually, yeah,
but you can still die,
you
though.
Can quick purge.
No, you're right. That was one of the dialogues. When you're first is KK, they say you are still connected to him, and that's how you're able to track him down.
You don't know it at first. It's not until you talk to Rinko, I think her name is. I
always called her Ringo.
But yeah, she explains that you're connected to him still, so you still maintain some of his powers, and I think that's why you don't have, at least I think that's what explains like the height damage and stuff. I don't know, you make a valid point, but I think that's the explanation. I don't know for sure though.
But I just felt like when he left the body you would die. Well,
they did that first because when the game starts, half your face is missing, which is supposedly what happened in the accident. But if you remember, there's a scene where KK heals your body, but it's still.
But he's like locked up in a spear. He can heal you from there, but he can't get out.
I don't know. But you also got to admit too, if the game, when you're playing this game, no height damage, all of a sudden you lose that guy, and then all of a sudden you have height damage, you'd be pissed.
No, that's true. The Temu and stuff but at the same time, like if you can grapple to that like Birdman, why can't you just what?
Tengu, that's what they're called.
I was calling him Temu earlier. Like I was so bad with that. But like why can't you grapple to other buildings and stuff?
Yeah. And
it bothered me too that you go up some flights of stairs but not others, That's really random. But like for me, like it's like why can't I grapple to other buildings? That would have made it way more fun.
Why wasn't I just Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Well, there were points where you could kind of like half climb. Like it wasn't even just like a grapple on. Like you would, if you were close enough, you would sort of climb up and then grab. I don't know. I didn't think much about it because there wasn't a ton of platforming required. Like there was stuff on the roofs of buildings, but I didn't feel like there was enough platforming that. Excuse me. That the way the grapple and all that worked didn't matter much, I guess. But I would definitely be pissed if all of a sudden halfway through there was height damage because I would forget every time. Yeah, and honestly, because I hated the bow and I didn't have it leveled up at all, when I lost KK, I was just like, whoa, I'm going to run past everything and I'm just going to get KK back. That's what I'm going to do. I want to finger gun people. Maybe I should. I want to go.
Okay. That's... Well, anyways, when KK does leave you for a while, it is like it's kind of a scary moment, isn't it?
Thank you for glossing over that, Liz.
So scary. It's terrifying. So I just ran so far away.
I've had that song stuck in my head for like 3 weeks.
You're welcome.
I think we're just gonna go past
but anyway, what did you guys think of the timed events? Because so there's one at the beginning. There's one where I'm at now, and I was just it was right before we started recording. Well, probably 30 minutes before we started recording, and I was just like, do you know what? I think this is a good stopping point.
I like the world events. I wish there was more of them. The only two I kind of saw were when the spirits are getting trapped in boxes, and then when the ghost parade's going on.
You know, I feel like I've never seen you truly cry, and you have just tears down your face.
I do wish there was more of the timed events, mostly because they were interesting and it was a quicker way to gain souls.
I love the ghost parades. I thought those were fun.
Oh,
Yeah,
those
because
were-
it was just big out melee brawls. I think
Yeah.
I actually only did one of them, but it was
Wait,
it
you
was
guys
fun.
fought during them?
Yeah,
What did you do?
It sucks
You
in.
hide, they go away.
No, if you fight them, you go into this
And
arena and you fight a bunch
I
of people.
thought the
and you get a
first
bunch of
time
ghosts.
it showed you, it forced you even. I didn't really have a choice.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
It,
it
just-
forced you the first time.
It just popped up in front of my face. It was well, I guess I'm doing this. And then I assumed after that I would have opportunities to bypass them, but I don't know,
might-
maybe you can bypass even the first one.
I don't know if I was in an arena. Why are you laughing, Andrew?
Sounds like a Keith's phrase.
It might have been.
Andrew's
I
still
might have
taking over
been.
finger guns.
I might have been sucked into an arena, but after that, when I saw the ghost parade, I just hid because I thought that they could see me and they went away. But the music picked up and
Yeah.
stuff, and it's super eerie. But yeah, you don't have to fight during all of them.
No, but there were fun fights. I always loved when the game went into an arena mode and you just fought a bunch of people.
I didn't know they did. That's why I didn't do
The
it.
ghost parades have a ton of enemies, and yeah, they're actually a lot of fun. But with Ghostwire Tokyo now coming to Xbox, there has been a free content patch called Spider Threads. Did you guys play that alternate game mode?
I was going to ask you
No.
about that because I was going to ask you if you knew what my favorite part of Ghostwire Tokyo was.
Yeah,
And I think-
the roguelike element of Spider Threads.
Oh man, when I fired that up, I started reading. I went, wait a minute, this is a roguelike, and so Spider Thread is awesome. Is
Yeah.
is
Can you
what I would
explain
say.
it to me? Because I didn't play it.
It's
Yeah,
essentially it's a roguelike version of the gameplay, but what it does is it just brings you in, it drops you into a floor, which is a little section of a city, and it gives you just some random
Objective.
objective. It'll be find a specter, get
Protect the spirits.
Yeah, some random thing, an optional one, and then it will tell you how many certain collectibles of food, money, and what is it? There's a third one. But anyways, there's 3 different collectibles or 4 different collectibles that'll tell you how many there are to collect in that area, and then you go to the next floor and you rinse and repeat, and then every so many floors you go to these what is it, the cat's meow or something like that.
Yeah, Cat's Paw.
Yeah, the cat's paw, where there's just a bunch of shops where you can do permanent upgrades, temporary upgrades, and all of that. And then if you die, you start back at the first floor and you start over. And the objective is 25 floors, I think.
Oh,
I didn't
far
get
did you
that.
get?
I only got to, I think, 6 or 7 was my furthest.
yeah. I didn't play till I died, but yeah, I only just played a little bit the game mode, and I did floor 5.
And I mean, if I'm gonna rate it as a roguelike, it's not the best one because it's kind of slow paced, but it is a very fun addition to the game. And
Yeah.
and not just because I like roguelikes, I think it's just it takes the gameplay, and we were talking about, is that sometimes it feels like there's not enough fighting in the game. And I felt like in the Spider Thread version, or the Spider's Thread mode, it wasn't a ton of it, but it was very dedicated combat, and you weren't spending a lot of time running around the city looking for things to do. It was go to the floor, drop into the next one, combat, go to the next floor, repeat. And it actually it was a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah, because getting the collectible stuff that you were saying is optional. You can just keep going and not worry about collecting all the food and spirits and whatnot. So yeah, it was interesting. But the nice thing too is so in the mode there's some new enemy types which they added into the main game, and some new weapons. I know the exposure talisman, I do believe, is a new weapon that was added to the main game. And then there was a couple new enemies, which I got an achievement saying you killed all the new enemy types. So I think it's cool that this content update it's kind of small, but it was it's a nice addition that they also just throw in the main game.
I also I was saying earlier that I felt like the combat got samey, but I will say that they did add new elements. So like, I mean, obviously I was talking about like the timed events, but at one point you're supposed to protect, I think like, if I forget if it was a ghost or just a woman, but I didn't
Ringo.
realize what?
Yeah, you had to protect Ringo.
Yeah, I didn't realize at first that I was trying to protect her, to be honest. Not very observant, but then I noticed like there was like that trail from one of the enemies, and I was like, oh, I think I'm supposed to protect her. And then I did, obviously. But I will say that there were some like combat elements like that were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I just kind of wish that there was more.
I will say the protecting game modes are super easy because the enemies ignore you. They walk right by you and they're just going straight to whatever you're trying to defend. And you could just go up and instantly kill the enemies. Like you could do a quick purge and just kill them in one hit. So I found those objectives super easy.
Well, they were weird in some ways too, because there were points where they would notice you, but they would move slow enough that you could still sneak around behind them sometimes and do a quick purge. I don't know if you've run into that, but yeah, largely that's kind of what I would do. Like that, I actually just recently did that same fight, Liz, so I have it fresh in my mind. And the only thing that gave me a little bit of trouble was the giant guy that came out of nowhere. Just because I happened
hammer guy?
Yeah, and I happened to be running low on ammo, so I struggled with him a bit. I don't think he killed me still, but it was a little bit more of a fight. But up until that point, I don't think she had even like taken a point of damage.
One minor thing that I absolutely love about the gameplay, like we said, the way you heal is by eating various foods that you find around the food. You eat various foods that you find around the city.
There you go.
And one thing that's great is every time you eat a food, it permanently increases your max health. So it's like as you're healing more, you're increasing your overall maximum health permanently. And I actually love that feature. So like literally I would just take one little hit of damage and I'm like, oh, drinking a soda.
Me too.
Yeah. I would just constantly keep just chugging things so I could have like as big of a health bar as possible.
Probably should have done that more often. We talk about Liz preparing the end of the world for others. and I'm just thinking about how like it's a good thing all this food is still good, or the fact that you go into a hoarder house, like a legitimate hoarder house, and there's rats running around and trash everywhere, and you're just like, ooh, hey, snack, and you take that and you
I was gonna bring that up. Oh my word!
I mean,
yeah.
I'd eat it.
No, I
you're
saw
just gonna eat some
that.
hoarder house snacks.
All those flies around, like absolutely no, thank you.
All my coworkers make fun of me because I literally eat anything that's left in the break room.
Oh, I mean, don't get me wrong. I am a disgusting human being who has children. I eat food that they hand to me. Like I am aware that I am disgusting.
So many boogers. So many boogers.
Boogers are probably the least gross thing that are on whatever they're handing me. But like I will do that because I love my children, and I will make them happy or whatever. But I will tell you, I am not going to walk into that rat infested house and grab a bag of. Because who knows if that's a bag of fast food from today or if that's a bag of fast food from last year.
I feel like I see like necessity and politeness in the same way, where like I actually like know hoarders that are like bug infested houses and stuff. And if I went to their house and they offered me food, I would feel rude not like saying no. And it's the same with like necessity. But I think it's funny too. Like I also adapted this mentality that Andrew has where like he'll eat expired food. Like he doesn't care. And whenever I say like, you could get sick from that, he's like, spring cleaning. And so like now whenever it comes to like food that I'm like a little skeptical of, like that's kind of like the phrase that I think of. Spring cleaning.
Amber will throw away things like garlic powder because it's expired. I'm like, well, it's garlic powder.
That's Liz. Yeah.
No.
We can keep that. Now, if you're gonna go away and throw away the milk that's a week old, fine. I will
smell check.
I'll accept it because I don't really care. I'm like, fine, we'll just buy more. I don't actually care, but it just makes me laugh because that's something I would have something that is 5 years expired. If it is a powdered product like that, I am not thinking about it.
Well, that's kind of a joke because, like, you go to your grandparents' house and they have, like, stuff from, like, 1999, like, spices.
Oh, my parents used to have, they've dug out, I think, like, a 7 or 8 year old can of frosting one day. It was pretty old.
I have some, like, Andrew, like, he also influenced me with this. Like, I do have some expired spices, but I have, like, because I write them down. I won't get into that. But, like, No, because okay,
So you
no,
can
I'm going
note the
to.
days you eat them in case you
No,
die. Like this
because so I have them all
day.
written down because I don't want to sound like a crazy person. So we do grocery pickup, and one time they came and there was no cap on one of the spices, but it had like the seal. And then another time I did grocery pickup, and it was a broken cap. So I ordered containers for my spices, and so now I have them written down. And then it's like, by the end of the year, if they're expired, I was like, oh, I'll toss them out. And then like I kind of forgot about it. So now they're like a year and a half expired. But it's only a couple of them because I have a lot of spices.
But I like, Liz, you say smell check. And according to you,
With milk.
everything smells bad.
I have a
Every time
super
you open a
sensitive.
fresh packet of meat, you're like, that smells bad. I'm like, no, it doesn't. It smells like meat.
No. So, okay, this is a perfect example. So I do have a super sensitive
Change your
nose,
time.
but like it's like most smells that like bother people don't bother me. But like for instance, like I opened a package of chicken, and I was like, this smells like bleach, and Andrew didn't believe me, and I googled it, and in the U.S., yeah, it's some chicken like some factories, they do use a solution that does smell like bleach. Andrew doesn't smell anything at all, and I was like, so I don't buy that brand anymore. I don't want chicken that smells like bleach. So yeah, I do the smell check, and actually it makes it so that you don't have bleach chicken. You're welcome. But like milk is something that like it's very easy. You smell it and it's good. It's turning or it's bad,
Yeah.
Do you even smell the milk if it's expired, Andrew?
Nah.
That's what I thought. You wait to
Usually
see if
go
it
through milk
curdles.
so quick that it never expires. So I'm just like, eh.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty safe bet at our house is that it hasn't been in there long enough to have expired. But also, I usually do a visual check on milk. Like, I don't know, is it chunky? It's probably fine.
I know it curdle like when you put it in like coffee or something, it'll curdle when it's bad, but it looks normal on the outside. But do you know what's weird? Half and half or like whipping cream, it always smells awful out of the carton.
It smells all funky.
You can't tell unless you pour it in a glass and then smell it.
Yeah.
But anyways, there's also dog food in this game because you can
Oh, yeah,
feed
video
and pet
games.
the animals.
I was going to literally do the exact same transition. I'm talking
Great
about
minds
animals.
think alike. Yeah, and I think like the fact that dogs give you something in return is great, but I would have pet them anyways
But the cats
and
do
given them
nothing
the
for
food
you.
anyways. Can you pet the pet?
You can kind of pet the cats. Like when you pet a dog, your character's like both hands, like, oh, good boy. And a cat, he's like, he barely like pets them. He's
Just
like,
You gotta
little,
be
like-
careful.
yeah.
Those cats are like you can tell that they're a little bit sassy.
Oh, they are. That's what I love. When you read the thoughts of the dog, they're just like, oh, hi, friend. Your friend, feed. And then you go to the cats, and there was one of them I ran into is like, oh, I'm hungry, but I don't want to get up. It's like, nice.
I want a pet so bad. Like this game just made me realize like Andrew doesn't want a cat. I want a cat or a dog so bad. Either.
But
Get a cat, not a dog.
No, you have a dog. You're gonna get a dog.
No, seriously, dogs are. I love dogs. I love other people's dogs. I want to go pet all of the dogs and snuggle all of the dogs in the world. Dogs are too much work. I don't want any more dogs. Give me a cat.
Do you know, I saw this commercial. This is so off topic, but Jenna Fisher from The Office in this commercial for like a kitty litter, like a cat box system.
Yeah.
And you don't have to like do the pooper scooper thing or anything. Hundreds of dollars.
No, of course.
You know what I mean?
Of
Like,
course.
and I think it's like a Tony Shalhoub once did this thing where he had this like stick thing that he put under his dog so he didn't have to scoop it up. People don't want to deal with their pet crap, and they come out with all this crazy expensive stuff. But really, like that cat box just blew my mind. Hundreds of dollars. I forget how much it was, but it blew my mind. I'd rather scoop the poop.
I don't know. I don't like dealing with waste either. But are you glad, Keith, this game has dog buttholes?
I did not look for the dog butthole.
I could tell you were transitioning.
I'm not surprised that you did. Did you check the cats as well?
Cats do not have a butthole.
Because I see enough cat butthole in my life because that's what my cat likes to do. is
They
just
pointed at you.
walk up in my face and be like, hey, here's my butthole.
And so is that why you like cats? Like, is that why you're pro cat?
You know, the
speaking
timing
of his
is
cat.
not great on that, on that statement. But no, that is not why I like my cat. That's one of the reasons I don't like my cat at all. She's butthead. But
No, but the cats love it though because the shopkeepers are the spectral cats, and they're always If they had buttholes, yeah, they literally are
You
always
would
sitting in
see
position.
'em.
Yeah, because they're literally sitting in a position where it's like literally their butt or crotch is right in your face.
Graphics, though, I mean, talking about buttholes, I mean,
Talking about animals, the graphics though, I loved the design of the city. But Liz, so I remember you saying this when you were playing this. You're like, man, I really want to visit Tokyo. This game made me not want to visit Tokyo.
well, it's all like, and I love the rain. You know that. We live in
Yeah.
a place where it doesn't rain very often. Makes me very sad. But I mean, when you think of Tokyo, they weren't really showing what you're thinking of.
I don't know. This is
But
kind of what
what
I was thinking of.
Really? What do you mean by that?
To me, I felt claustrophobic. Just like there's just so much stuff and everything is so close.
Well, I guess like when I'm like I guess it's more Japan because there are areas of Japan, especially like touristy
yeah.
places where you have like there is like a lot of open space.
Yeah.
I would be nervous visiting Japan simply because they have like different like things that they consider rude that you wouldn't consider rude, and so like you actually like really have to read up on things that like might offend people, like if just being out in public, the way that you eat, everything. But I was, I guess, like more Japan. I feel like I actually wouldn't want to visit Tokyo the most out of Japan.
No. I loved the design of the city. Like, I thought it was a really cool city itself. But anytime I play any sort of open world in, like, an Asian city, I find them so hard to navigate. Like, usually just about any other game, like all the Grand Theft Auto games, I can usually be like, oh, I know these streets like the back of my hand. But I remember, like, when I played, like, Sleeping Dogs, I think that was based in Tokyo. I put hours in that game, and I still had no idea where I was. And even in this game, I'm, like, going through these different districts, and then I look at my map, and I'm like, oh, wait, I'm actually, like, by the beginning area. Like, I did not notice that. So I always just get so confused with navigation.
Well, it's good that you can fast travel then.
Yeah, you can fast travel, and the map is good in this game.
I'm curious though, like, what about it do you find confusing?
It's all very samey looking.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
You go to an area, and like every once in a while they'll give you like a landmark name, or it'd be like, oh, such and so shopping district, and I'm like, this looks like the apartment
Do
district.
you know what's weird? Because like there are certain buildings that I was like, wait, I went back. Like I actually knew certain structures and buildings and stuff, so I knew if I was going the wrong way. The map is fantastic, but I actually feel like I kind of knew the direction, which is weird.
Yeah, especially for you. I will say, but like I said, at least like this game has a really good waypoint system. Like you can see where your objective is, and it tells you how far it is. You can place personal waypoints. You have a spirit vision where you kind of drop like it looks like a raindrop you're dropping on the ground, but it like highlights things around you, but it'll show you like a direct path to your objective. So this game did a good job with the navigation itself, though.
It
So
didn't, because I felt like that it gave you like as the crow flies straight to your destination, it wouldn't be like, all right, go into this room, and I didn't need it to for the most part, but I didn't think that little like teardrop thing was an effective method, at least for finding my objective. It was good for finding stuff around me.
I think like finding your way out of a building was a little tricky with it because it would show you like the two lines, like you're supposed to go up, but it doesn't show you how to get there. And then I also do think that the map does need a zoom because there are a couple times where like the icon, there's like 2 or 3 icons like on top of each other, and so I had to keep going back and forth with the map trying to get it to
press
land
Y,
on it,
and it cycles through the icons that are near.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
but still, like
I liked
just
that
zoom.
feature a lot. Actually, is when you have all of those things that are just like so closely overlapping, you just tap Y to cycle through them.
Yeah.
But it's such a big city. Why do you need 3 icons in one building? And there's like nothing around it. That doesn't make sense to me. That's why I just think that like a zoom would be easier.
Yeah.
Or have it in a different
it does
building.
Have a zoom, but it sucks. But I one thing that irritates me though is even when you collect a relic or something like that, there's still an icon on the map.
Yeah, our side quests when you complete them,
they're just darker.
There.
Yeah, but it's still there. Yeah, I did not like that. I think it's nice if you're tracking to get a completion rating, because then you can look at a interactive map on the internet. And you can go, oh, okay, I see I got this one, I got this one, I got this one. So it's good for checking off the collectibles.
Is it able to be filtered?
I believe so. I did see there was a filter option. I just didn't play with them.
Yeah, because I was say maybe if you can do that, I guess. But I feel like the default should pretty much go to like that. And maybe that's
Yeah.
just what's annoying me about it. But I also didn't try to play with it to see if I could do that. So I don't know.
Yeah. But as far as audio goes, I will say I think the atmosphere of this game is very creepy. There's not a lot of music. And I think it works so well with the game because you're just like, you're in this very condensed big city and it is just silent and creepy. You hear a lot of rain. You can hear some ghosts. The ghosts make some really creepy noises. And then even too, when you're collecting the spirits, like people are kind of stuck in a loop. And they're just saying kind of weird, creepy things. But yeah, sometimes I kind of wish there was some music. Like I wish like during arena fights.
Well, the parade, when that kicks in, there
Oh,
is a little
that was
bit of
cool.
music. So I
Yeah.
feel like it's so subtle and little, but you immediately I immediately picked up on it. And same with like the beginning, like I think there were, I can't remember, but I think there were noises like when you were in the hospital. Oh my God, that was so creepy.
Yeah.
But I think like the subtlety was really good. And like you do hear like the evil ghosts too. Like, isn't there like some that like giggle?
Yep. Yeah, the schoolgirls giggle.
Yeah, you can tell when there's enemies around you. And there's also the icon that shows you like yellow, red, like they see you kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think audio-wise, they did a great job.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think the one with the little yellow coat too. I think that one made some noises.
The
and then
raincoat?
like the whistle when
The raincoat kids creep me out because it reminded me of the kid from It.
yeah.
You know, that gets
Well-
taken in the beginning.
I was gonna say the big tall lady with a hat was like a Resident Evil meets Ring
Yeah.
look to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I thought all of them. Well, you know, whether you like or dislike the kind of reskinning them is one or is whatever. I think overall the design of the enemies is really cool, and just all the intricacies of like even was it like the kappa that you're finding or the tanukis, which I think are just raccoons.
Yep.
So, yeah, like I liked all the little character designs and all of that fun stuff.
I love the Tanuki when you first meet him. He's just like, "What's up, bro?" Like he's like
Yeah.
super cheerful. Yeah, the Tanuki side quests are pretty awesome because I like you're just seeing a regular object, but you see a raccoon tail on it. Yeah, that's how you find them. I thought that was kind of cool.
Oh, I didn't even notice. I didn't actually even do any of those ones. But
Oh,
that's just
really?
like another collectible quest, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, one of the many other things you can collect in this
Yeah,
game.
I met the first one and that was it.
Oh, but the actual voice acting I really enjoyed. Like I thought the character like conveyed a lot of emotion and dialogue because obviously I don't speak Japanese, but it worked so well, and I actually really liked it.
I kind of wish that I had heard like the English
Yeah, me
voice
too. I
actors
was
to
curious
know
how
if
the
they
dub
did a
version
great
is.
job. But yeah, Japanese voice actors I think did a fantastic job.
But as far as achievements goes, I do not recommend this game for achievement hunters. So the game's listed as 11 hours to play the main story, which I find that kind of hard to believe. I think I'm at like 14. But for main quests and side missions, you're looking at 20 and a half hours. If you're looking to complete everything, you're looking at 37 hours. So this game has some meat to it if you really want to do all of the collectibles, because
Andrew,
there's a lot.
you got 450 with 32 achievements out of 66. Keith and I, we tied 180 out of 1,180 gamer score, and we both got 14 achievements. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like they were not trickling in very much.
yeah, I thought like at a certain point, like you get a certain amount of like, you know, spirits, you get an achievement, and like I thought there would be more of that, but there wasn't.
Well, there is. You
There's
get an
just
achievement for 25% spirits, 50, 75, and 100% of the spirits.
Did
But I
you
mean,
notice
it
says-
doesn't trickle, is what he said. Like for me, like the amount of gameplay that I put in, I don't think it was trickling. That's what I
Yeah,
meant.
but did you notice though? And I'm curious if it's a weird translation thing or if there's a reason why it says it. But did you notice that it says at least 100%? Is it? I don't know if it's because there's more because
Oh,
of
probably
DLC.
because the boxes that leave too.
Well, the boxes have a separate category.
Yeah, so I
there's
don't
two
know if
categories
there's
of
a way to
spirits.
go
Oh.
over 100%. Maybe like they almost give you extras to make it so that you don't have to fully 100% to 100%. If that makes sense.
Oh, I didn't see that.
But it's like I said, it could just be a weird translation thing of how it reads in it. But yeah, I don't know if it's for both the 100%, but I noticed it on the one at least for doing it before you complete the game, and it said collect at least 100% of the spirits before completing the game.
Yeah,
Oh.
I didn't know that.
Also, another thing, real quick.
And
You guys get any
another thing.
bugs?
Any what?
bugs?
I did not.
No,
So,
I don't think
okay.
we ran into any.
There were a couple times where, like I said, like left trigger to open, and I did it, and it wouldn't open. And there's one time I accidentally hit it twice, and so it just started like fluttering, like open, close, and like the left trigger thing disappeared. So I mean, sometimes you can't open things, but it was few and far between.
I don't know. I ran into that. I thought it had some like because things moved at points from like ghosts. I thought.
No,
So-
but it says left trigger, like you
Right.
can open it.
Well, I
Yeah.
know, but I had one of those too. But it was like, I think it was there was things that were just a little bit finicky, and that like I had to like look at it just right. It was like one of those little like trash bins, right?
No, but did it open and close after? Like it was like
It,
bugging
like-
out on you?
It like fluttered and then it settled. So I thought it was
Yeah,
just
it never
like a little like ghost action. All they ever did was just had a little bit of currency in them anyways, really. There was never anything of any consequence or real value.
No, I
so-
know, but it, like unless like there is like a weird thing with the game where it like tells you that you can open it and then it like tricks you, it definitely is a bug because it happened a couple times with me. And well, it was like you said, you're not really missing out, but it is kind of weird that it happened like a couple times with me.
If anything, the amount of things that you can open in this game that have absolutely nothing in them drove me nuts.
Yeah.
That's
Opening a closet and there's just nothing. It's just like, okay, that was a
like,
waste.
what good was that? But that's a very minor thing. But it also drove me nuts.
Well, sometimes it'd be like, ghosts hiding in the bathroom. Sometimes you turn the corner, you're like, oh, there's not going to be a ghost in the bathroom. And there was. So that's a nice little surprise.
But I played a majority of this game on xCloud, and I will say for an xCloud game, it's pretty good. Because, yes, it is a first-person shooter, but like I said, it's a bit more slow-paced. I will notice some of the lagging made my aiming a little bit difficult, but it was kind of nice. The left trigger specifically is aim assist. So if you could just kind of have your reticle near an enemy, and if you press left trigger, like it helps lock onto an enemy a little bit better for you.
Oh,
So-
you originally said you didn't prefer it on the cloud. Like, you're like, oh, I kind of want to play a different game.
It plays better on console, but I thought it was fine on the cloud. So overall, it's not a bad cloud game. The autosave is pretty good. I had no issues losing any progress or anything like that. I don't know about you guys.
No, and you could manual save pretty easily too.
Yeah.
It was pretty allowing of that whenever you felt like it.
Yeah. But let's get into our final thoughts here. So for me, Ghostwire Tokyo is a lot of fun. It was a unique experience for a first-person action adventure game. It's not too sweaty. It's really creepy, which I really enjoyed. The atmosphere in this game is fantastic. If you know anything about, Japanese spirit lore, like they have a lot of stories and myths and legends, and this game just embodies a lot of them. And it's really cool. It's a really fun environment. I think the pacing's a little weird. I think there's just way too many collectibles. And I thought the pacing was weird because of the story of it's the end of the world, but let's go take our time and walk around. So it was a little bit weird. I fully agree with what you guys are saying. I thought the combat was starting to get a little stale. So it was weird for me to be playing this game. And I'm just like, I just want to do main quest. I don't care about doing any of the side stuff anymore. And I don't think that's a good sign when you're just ignoring things. You're just I just want to kind of get to the end. But overall, it's a really fun experience. I love the environment. The story is interesting. I want a little more of it, but I like what it's doing. For me, this is an 83.
Yeah. So I mean, I said it was a game at the beginning. Obviously, still stands by that. But I think it's really a lot of what Andrew was saying. I really enjoyed my time playing Ghostwire. I wasn't sure I was going to, and the parts that I didn't like, I think were kind of what I was worried about. Is that it just felt a little slow paced at times. But all in all, the actual combat, like Andrew was saying, is unique enough that it's fun, even though it's not fast, but it doesn't make it feel easy at the same time. So it's just a unique game, and it's worth checking out if you like open world games, if you like action RPG kind of games. It's not going to be the best one you've ever played, but it's worth checking out. And I was going to go with an 85.
I guess I feel like mine's too high now. I was gonna give it an 89.
No.
But there's some things that I kind of wish that they scaled back on, like we talked about. wanted a little bit more story and things like that. But I just felt like overall, like, I mean, it's been a while since I played a game like this. I thought it was exciting and it was fun to play and all that. And looking at Metacritic for Series X, 83 and 7.6.
I think that's going to do it for us this episode. I want to say a quick thank you to all the people who have been writing comments and participating in the polls that we've been doing on Spotify. A lot of you guys' answers are surprising me. Like I thought more people would be against 343 continuing with Halo, but it was a very 50-50 kind of close of response. So thank you all so much for the comments and participating in the polls. I've been loving seeing what you guys all are saying and what you guys are participating in. Please let us know if you want us to do more side quest talk episodes. I had a nice suggestion for a different name because Boy Talk is a little weird. But Keith, you just said you didn't like the Boy Talk episode.
Oh, well, I mean, it's just too much of us.
So you don't want more of them.
Well, I want more Boy Talk because I think Boy Talk's like Liz should join Boy Talk is what I'm saying. Boy Talk is for everyone. I've said this before. Boy Talk is for boys, girls, everyone. There's nobody that it's not for.
Maybe the listeners needed a break from me as well, you know?
Which I loved. One of the polls I did for Age of Empires is, should Liz make an elephant noise? Majority of people said yes. One person said no. So one person really...
Is that like an insult or are they trying to help me out? Like, that's what I want to know.
I think someone's got your back, Liz.
I don't know.
I like to see the glass half full as well. You know, watch them write in and be like, "No, I just don't want to hear anymore." Oh, so does that mean? I mean, I guess I'm gonna have to do it eventually, huh?
I mean, yeah.
Maybe I should look up some YouTube videos because I don't want it to be like real, like terrible, like everyone just silent after. I want it to be like solid effort.
Solid effort.
I just want to see more comments from Eugene. I appreciate Eugene's honest and direct reviews.
Thank you so much to Eugene. I love those.
You're my favorite.
Oh, is that the one that was like, oh, I like this episode. This one was okay.
Yeah.
Not very good.
If you want to give us a game recommendation or just say hi, you can email us at gamepassgrab@gmail.com. You can find us on our Twitter or Facebook at GBGBpod. And we also, have a Discord, which I have a link of that somewhere on our link tree.
Yeah.
But, I've been your hardcore gamer host, Hans. You can find me on Xbox Live at Firebird01952.
I've been Keith, and yep, nothing. And nothing.
And I'm Liz Noob, gamertag, comment on Dean. I'm on Twitter at Liz Noob, NoobBZW, and I'm on Instagram, Liz Noob. EW.
All right, we're going to finger gun out of here. Catch you all next week.
Bye.
Bye, guys.